Hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Goo Review. My name is Moose, and today we will be reviewing the H&K or HK Axis folding knife. So here is a look at it. Check it out while I read over some stats. The overall length of the blade or of the knife is 8.34 inches. The blade length is 3.69 inches. The handle length is 4.64 inches, and the handle thickness is 0.51 inches thick. The weight on the knife is 4.96 ounces. So it's still sub 5 ounces, but you definitely feel the weight, almost to the point where, based on the size and the weight of it, you could potentially do some really small chopping. Like it has enough heft behind it. So it isn't the lightest knife, but for its size and materials and its design, it holds under the 5 ounce mark. Which is great. Materials wise, the blade is the excellent D2 steel, which is kind of one of the main reasons why I pulled the trigger on this blade, was the price point for that D2 steel. D2 steel is a excellent, very hard steel. And usually knives that are made with D2 steel, are easily $100 plus, $150 to $200 depending on the design. But for all the features of this knife and the materials plus the D2 steel, to have it hit the price point that it does is a killer deal. And I think a lot of people are going to pull the trigger on this knife based on those features and materials. So some of the other materials, it's a chocolatey, milk chocolate brown G10 with good solid traction. I'd put it similar to the traction on a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 if you're familiar with that. The liners are stainless steel, and they're I don't know if they're anodized. I didn't look into it, but they are blacked out, and then it's a flow-through pillar construction, and as you can see, they've been heavily milled out, the liners, so I could only imagine how heavy this knife would be without that milling. It'd probably be closer to like a 6-ounce knife, so I'm really glad that they milled out those liners, because they did a great job of doing that, and it makes it a much more reasonable weight. And actually a fairly light knife for the size. So the design of the knife would be considered, they call it a clip point. I'd say it's kind of a reverse Tonto almost, drop point with a bit of a swedge. Has dual thumb studs for ambidextrous opening. A very nice flow through construction. You just got the 2 barrel pillars there. You got the stop pin, the axis lock, and then the pivot pin. Now, my only hiccup with some of the axis lock knives that Benchmade makes, and HK, or that Benchmade makes, is the fact that there's usually some side-to-side play. Just that's how the mechanism kind of works. This one, there's a slight hint, you could barely feel it, but for the most part, the up and down is rock solid, and you just can tell this is a hefty, strong blade. Now, just so people know, the knife does not come with a moose on it. I got that personalized thanks to Sparta Knives in Rosedale Mall in Minnesota. Here, it's a local knife shop, and Benchmade was there doing free laser engravings on any HK or Benchmade knives, so that was really nice. Um, Other than that, let's compare it to some other knives, because it'll probably help you out as far as letting you know what to pull the trigger on. So I would consider this a medium to large size folder, just because of the weight and the overall size. Benchmade's designs do really well as far as blade length to handle ratios, and you can see how far to the end this blade reaches. So I'll kind of line the handle up with this white line here, and we'll compare it to the Spyderco Manix 2 lightweights. Oops, that was my bad. The Buck Vantage, and the Bird Raven 2. So now, as you can see, they all kind of fit into that category of larger folding blades. If you look carefully, I'd say just by a hair, the HK is a bit longer weight-wise compared to all of these. I'd have to say that it's close to the heaviest. I can't be sure, but these two seem pretty similar in weight. This one's just slightly lighter, and the Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight clearly is the winner for the lightness factor. But you can see kind of how it fits into that size category as a large to medium size folder. That being said, if you compare the actual blade thickness, you can see it's thicker than the Buck Vantage, and the blade stock is thicker than the Spyderco Manix 2. And then it's basically the same as the Bird Raven 2. So this is the type of knife for the size, for the price, for the materials. And remember, this is a D2 steel blade. The price, if I didn't say it already, it's around $110. Great materials. This is the type of knife I'm actually going to use this for kind of my bug out bag. I'm going to put this guy in my bug out bag, or kind of as my urban survival knife. It's much more of a tactile knife. You could use this potentially as an outdoors knife. D2 steel's great for retaining an edge, but remember, you do have to maintain it, or it will rust. It doesn't have the same stainless steel properties as some of the other steels out there. So you do have to take some care with it. And that being said, there's only one test left, I believe, and that is the ugly brown glove test. Real quick, it fits good in hand. The G10 really grips this kind of frumpy glove well. We'll try to open it up, close it. I'll have to say I do have to really try to focus to try to find these access pins, and as you can see, they are somewhat recessed, and I don't know if that's part of the design so that, you know, in a tactile situation they don't accidentally get bumped, but it's not as easy to close as some of the other knife designs out there. But it's doable. It feels comfortable in all the grips, so I'd say it passes the ugly brown glove test. Not as good as other ones, but it still passes. The only other thing, it doesn't have a lanyard hole, which might be a red flag or a deal breaker. But I have seen some people modify or adapt a lanyard by securing it around this back pillar and then securing that. So there is a way to kind of compensate for the lack of a lanyard hole. For me personally, I don't use lanyard, so it wasn't a big deal. Pocket clip, reversible, tip up only. Great knife, recommend it. Be sure to check it out. If you can get one in hand, you might fall in love with it. And just remember the materials and the warranty is Benchmade, and it's USA made, so go US. That being said, thank you so much for watching my reviews. Be sure to like, subscribe, or comment if you have any questions. Please check out some of my other knife reviews. I'll link them up to the eye up in the corner, and I'll try to put down a link in the description to like Amazon or Blade HQ or Benchmade or HK, whatever it is, for this knife. So thank you so much. Have a great week or month or whatever. We'll see me on my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.